Oh, you want to play psycho killer? Can I be the helpless victim?
Cross your eyes and scream, man. Scream for your life.
Welcome, Scream Queens, Kings, and Things. Whether you're screaming at movies or the real life stuff, I'm your host, Jenica Olin. This is my 55th episode. My theme of the month is a very corporate Christmas, with movies about the horrors of consumerism and how profit over people has led to death through poisoning and addiction. American corporations were feeding people radioactive water, cocaine, morphine, industrial bleach, arsenic, and embalming fluid, all while calling it healthy. The F.D.A. exists because consumerism killed people. This is still as relevant as ever, with diet fads, influencers pushing non-FDA approved weight loss products, and vitamins with random ingredients that might as well be your favorite food seasoning in a capsule. The most recent outrage about public health and safety has to do with cosmetics, where FDA pulled their plan to require asbestos testing on talc-based cosmetics. The decision surprised health advocates, who have pushed for stronger oversight because asbestos is a dangerous contaminant that can appear in talc and is linked to deadly cancers. The agency says it plans to create a broader proposal in the future. Talc is still used in a wide range of consumer items. Makeup like foundation, blush, mascara, and eyeshadow often contain it, as well as some candies, gums, dietary supplements, and tablets, according to research by former FDA Director Dr. George Tidmarsh. So check those ingredients, and please don't take something because Jessica says it helped her lose 10 pounds in 10 days. Today I'll be covering 1985, The Stuff, directed by Larry Cohen, written by Larry Cohen, starring Michael Moriarty, Andrea Markovicki, and Garrett Morris. Estimated budget was $1,700,000, and there is no estimated gross to be found, at least not on IMDb, the regular IMDb. I don't pay. The tagline for this movie is "Enough is enough." Some quick trivia about this film. Some of the substance props or stand-ins for the real stuff used in the movie included lots of Haagen-Dazs ice cream, yogurt, and one scene involved an enormous avalanche-like effect of stuff crashing through a wall, which was fire-extinguishing foam. Other shots, such as ones of the giant lake of stuff, required superimposed images and animation. Chocolate Chip Charlie was inspired by famous Amos cookies. Director Larry Cohen was quoted as saying, "My main inspiration was the consumerism and corporate greed found in our country and the damaging products that were being sold. I was constantly reading in the newspapers about various goods and materials being recalled because they were harming people. For example, you had foods being pulled off the market because they were hazardous to people's health." Cohen also cited as his influence the sheer volume of junk food we consume every day. We continue to eat these foods despite the fact some of them are killing us. That's when I started thinking that the stuff could be an imaginary product. In this case, an ice cream dessert that is being consumed by millions, and it's doing irreparable damage to humanity. Everybody is gobbling down this yummy food, so how can it possibly be wrong for us? The Stuff is one of the movies playing at the Starcourt Mall during the third season of Stranger Things. The plot point of characters compulsively eating something and turning into mindless zombies is shared between both stories. The film was not a hit, and Larry Cohen feels that it was hurt by the fact that it was sold as a horror film. He saw it as basically a satirical comedy, but it's definitely a horror comedy satire film. If you're new here, each episode will have an intro, brief synopsis of the movie, and an analysis of the film. Spoiler alert, I've made it my job to spoil the shit out of this movie. Let's set the scene with a synopsis of the movie.
The stuff is here now, great new day sensation, light and free now, will get you elevation, enough is never enough.
taste that makes you hungry for more. The stuff. Taste that delivers.
Two miners find a yogurt and ice cream-like substance that appears from inside the Earth's core in a kind of eruption. They taste it to see whether it's edible, and they like it a lot. They love the way that it tastes so much that they decide to mass produce it and start selling it. From now on, it's known as the stuff, the latest taste sensation. Jason's mother buys the product. Suddenly it's everywhere, on commercials, billboards, and the supermarket. The stuff is usually kept in the fridge, but Jason doesn't like this new product at all, especially because he saw it move all by itself inside the refrigerator. However, his parents don't listen to him. Soon, there's only stuff in the household fridge, so that Jason feels more and more hungry and isolated. Jason's family was not a really good family before, or at least towards Jason, but now they only talk, eat, and think stuff. Finally, Jason comes into contact with industrial espionage expert David Moe Rutherford. They recognize each other as people who have not tasted the stuff. They go to the main factory, try to stop them from producing the deadly dessert. Some become slaves to the stuff, preferring the substance instead of food. Moe and Jason and Nicole, the designer of the strange substance's advertising campaign, start being attacked by people who have become addicted to the stuff. Finally, they reach the factory. Moe and Nicole are given a tour around the factory, and the foreman tells them that they have a room paid for at the nearest motel. Meanwhile, Jason sneaks around the plant, and he becomes trapped inside one of the distribution trucks. In the cheap motel, stuff starts appearing from David and Nicole's mattress. First, it tries to suffocate David, but Nicole burns it. Then, they run away, but a man, obedient to the stuff, is the one who gets killed. Stuff overfloods the whole motel. Meanwhile, the truck in which Jason is in starts moving. Followed by David and Nicole, Jason tumbles all around inside it. The truck reaches its destination. Nicole and David see a stream of stuff flooding from the core of the earth, being put inside distribution trucks without any filtering. Jason attaches some mini recording cameras to his ankles and then uses the yellow overalls of the stuff workers. The stuff creates weird, milky structures and is possibly sentient. Stuff is being poured into the truck in which Jason is trapped. David hears Jason talking through the truck so he can free him. Meanwhile, Nicole is attacked by one of the workers while she's traveling to the meeting point with David, who saves her. Then, David comes back to take Jason from the truck. A police officer stops David because the back door was open. David mentions that it's a pity that so much stuff is getting wasted. Jason and Nicole pretend to eat it until the officer goes to eat some and David can knock him down. They reach a fortress and the rightist militia helps them take on the factory. They kill many factory workers, but the stuff overflows once again. Nicole and Jason run at the last second. The stuff wrecks the factory. They want to broadcast from Atlanta so that everybody knows what this stuff can do. Chocolate Chip Charlie W. Hobbs is a cookie mogul who will help them because sales of this stuff made him file for bankruptcy. However, when he arrives at the Colonial's radio station, it turns out that he is addicted to the stuff. He takes Nicole aside and opens his mouth, and stuff starts pouring out. Somehow, people believe what the Colonial says, and they start turning against the stuff. They burn it and vandalize places that sell it. The unscrupulous owners of the stuff want to remarket it, calling it The Taste, a blend of yogurt and ice cream with enough stuff on it to turn consumers into addicts. David calls Jason and he enters the room. Jason takes glasses and glasses of stuff, and they force the company owners to eat it. The police arrive while the two owners eat and eat. They are already hooked on it and can't stop. David and Jason leave. Meanwhile, some criminals are buying loads and loads of their drug of choice, stuff, implying that this stuff is here to stay. Let's end on a high note. Weekly Horror Update.
If the stuff is in your house, do not eat it. If you have it on your shelves, do not sell it. If you distribute this material, close your doors, make no more sales.
Enough is never enough.
Now it's time to talk horror, and my guest today is Avery from Avery's Crypt. She is a journalist with Fangoria and a writer for Movie John. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what have you been working on, and where can people find you?
I've been working on some horror short fiction, trying to build up my name as it pertains to the fictional world of horror, not so much the non-fictional worlds of horror. But if you're interested in that type of writing, you can find me on Instagram, on Substack, TikTok. I write here and there for everywhere, truly. So you look up Avery's Crypt or you look up Avery Coffee and you will find me.
Awesome. Is your writing mostly like fantasy, or what would you describe it
No.
as? Okay.
My writing is definitely not fantasy. Not that I have anything wrong with fantasy, but that's just never been my avenue for fiction. This is actually too my first time taking a stab at horror fiction. I've been a writer for a while, like since third grade at least. But I've always written like realistic, contemporary, coming of age things. But this year, I really wanted to step outside of my comfort zone. It sounds contradictory because you would think that my comfort zone would be horror, but I am paralyzed with the anxiety of not doing well in the horror fiction space as someone who loves horror so much. So all of that is to say that, yeah, I usually write more contemporary coming of age sort of things. But as it pertains to horror, I find myself writing, like, I think I like a mixture of like campy on the nose horror with like deeper themes. There's just something fun about playing around with those deeper meanings, but in a very unserious way.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's always good to be playful with trauma, I find. Any of those like dark themes, if you can throw humor at it just makes it more palatable and fun.
Yeah, I know. And I also just think too that when you look at the world of horror and you look at the history, I feel like in all of the darkest times in society, the horror has been some of the most unserious. And it's interesting to see the way that we as a society respond to traumatic moments in our lives with humor and like with this weird relationship it has to trauma and to fear.
Yeah, actually, so that's kind of a perfect segue into the movie that we're talking about today, The Stuff, because it is very much a horror comedy and it's commentary on consumerism. but in like the most ridiculous way possible.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how many times this movie made you laugh. It's less like laugh out loud comedy and more like situational comedy. There are
Yeah.
some funny moments, but it's just more ridiculous.
Yes. There's a, not like slapstick, but absurdist. I think like absurdism is so fun in horror.
Yeah. And this movie opens up so absurd. Okay, so there's the bubbling white substance, right? And it's just like in the ground. And the guy, he's like a miner. He's just mining. And apparently, like being around a bubbling substance right outside of the cave that you're mining in is just totally normal. And you're a grown ass man who's going to taste this weird bubbling substance.
And I'm pretty sure it's also steaming.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah. So it's like, it looks toxic. To me, if I was to see a bubbling, steaming ooze, I'd be like, that's toxic. Like, that's not good.
Right.
You don't eat that.
Right. You know, I was just having this conversation too about how there are things in this world that look like shit but taste so good. And then you have something like The Stuff, which is the complete opposite. It looks possibly good and it tastes good, but it's not good. It's not good for you. Put that down.
Yes, do not eat that. Do not stick your finger in that. Do not put that in your mouth. Like, the mom in me wanted to like tell him not to eat. Like, what are you doing? And then he convinces his grown ass, they're like two grown ass men, and then he convinces his friend to eat it.
And that's peer pressure. But although he didn't really need much pressure, he did it quite easily.
Yeah, he's like, ew, what is that? Like, oh, you're sticking your finger in that? He's like, oh yeah, it tastes so good. Try it. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try it. Like, no, I would never. Things I would never do is that.
Things I would never do is pick something off of the ground and put it in my mouth. That was my first lesson as a child.
I'm sure, hopefully you didn't have a bad experience. Hopefully your mom just like stopped you.
Yeah, it's like babying 101. That's one of your first earliest lessons of life. But I think he just missed a few.
Yeah. And so like these guys decide that this is like the best stuff ever. Like, this bubbling ooze from the ground is so delicious. They start packaging it into yogurt containers and shipping it off to local grocery stores. And it's crazy because how are you getting this much of it? Where is it coming from? Apparently it's coming from like the core of the earth. Like, it just keeps coming more and more. And they're like, no one's questioning what the ingredients are. They're not worried about what it's made of. There was no F.D.A. apparently, or if there was, they bought them off. I don't know. Maybe.
I think as we talk more about this, there are speculations that people were paid off in the discovery of this product, and that's kind of what we're trying to figure out and investigate throughout this whole movie.
It's very true, because they are saying, they're like, there's no ingredients on this. They're like, we don't have any testing for it, and there's all this secrecy. And like, if you are to ask questions from the corporation, you're just met with hostility, and we're just going to shut you up. How dare you?
Yeah, and it's something that it's not said very frequently, but every time it is said, it kind of just like a red alarm goes off in my mind. This idea that it's like the American way. Some things that are happening, it's the American way. And there is this general attitude of, I think that we as consumers forget that we have rights too. And part of that right is knowing the things that we are consuming, the things that we are putting in our bodies, but also the things that we're, like giving our money to. but then corporations and the people in suits, they are the ones who feel like that isn't our right to know, and we should just essentially shut up and dribble, as some may say.
Yeah. And around the time that this movie was made, there's like stuff with consumerism and like people being poisoned. Like people had to die for us to have the FDA and all the regulations that we do now. And the fact that they're being lifted right now is terrifying. There's crazy stuff before. I have like a list of crazy shit that people had in
like
their food.
the Coke and the Coke and all of those stories we've heard.
Yeah, that was a true one, the Coke and the Coke. But there was asbestos. Oh, that's one right now that people are worried about, asbestos in the makeup, and they decided they're not going to be testing for that. Did you hear about that?
I did. And I think now there's another thing with lead. I think what actually it was, there were recalls on packaged cheese because there were, like, it was exposed to lead or something. And so there were so many recalls from different retailers, but people in the comments were saying it's funny how all of these different brands of cheese are all linked to one company that sources all of the cheese. It's just sold to separate companies. And I think that also is a huge piece of the conversation of like capitalism as it pertains to consumerism too.
Yes, 100%. They used to actually sell radioactive water as like being good for you. Did you know that?
What didn't they sell and lie about?
It's insane. It's insane. But yeah, it's good that we have those rules and regulations now. But I feel like the corporation here is constantly like Pam bonding it. How dare you ask that question? We would never. This is so good for you. How dare you say that this is not the most nutritious thing ever?
Yeah, PR 101.
It's funny. It's funny, but it's sad.
It's too one of those things that you're watching and you're laughing and then your smile slowly fades and you realize, wait, this feels a little too close to home.
It's the absurdity to like kind of hammer in the point, right? So we meet Jason, and Jason's the only, like, he's the little kid, and he hasn't been eating apparently. He's been having stuff going on with his stomach. He sees this stuff in the fridge and he sees it move. And his dad is a complete asshole. I hated his father.
I hate that man.
Just the way that he was like yelling at him just for like looking in the fridge. Like, I get it. He shouldn't be up at night, but like, is that kind of hostility? Like, is that necessary? Like, it was so
What happened
ridiculous.
to concern, to general parental concern? Because he didn't have any. But something I will say that I find to be interesting is that generation of parents, it was an accurate portrayal, because I think that he wasn't outright abusive to the extent that we see in horror movies, you know, like the type of parents that are introduced as someone who is abusive, who is like creating a hostile and dangerous environment. These two parents to Jason are not necessarily like that, but there is still a type of neglect going on.
Yeah, the mom is ignoring it. She's very passive about the way that the dad is handling the situation. She doesn't try to have a conversation with him about the way he treats their son or anything. And they completely gaslight him, any of his concerns. Whenever he says that it was moving, they just start talking about how, oh, well, there's bacteria in yogurt. Like,
Yeah.
this is natural, like, organisms are supposed to be in our foods and everything. And they completely ignore any of his concerns and just like facts that, oh yeah, we have bacteria in our yogurt, but that doesn't mean that you would never see it physically move. Like, how is that explaining away what I saw? It's like, it's just completely dismissing any concerns that this kid had. And I feel like that was also really common for the time, where if any kid had any concern, they were like, shut up, you're a kid, you don't know anything.
That, to bring up Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh my God, I just had that same thought.
Yes. Yeah, where this is something that, I mean, in the past timeline of the 80s, that is a very big theme that we see. But then also you see in present day that it sort of still occurs, just in a different way, maybe not as passive, maybe not as frequent, but children are still getting dismissed in their own ways. But I also too think that dismissiveness it's like a cop-out as a way for the people who are dismissing these kids to feel better about their own choices, and to, like, well, I've put thought into it. I do know, trying to keep hold of that agency of being a consumer, and, like, being able to finger point to these facts to show that you are educated on the things that, you should feel guilty about.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a huge part of it. And also the control. There's a huge control factor with, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean I don't know what I'm doing? Like, of course I know what I'm doing. You're just a stupid kid. And that was a very pervasive attitude. And it's actually still happening today. And even with the yogurt or the stuff, it's mind control. It literally turns everyone into zombies that all they want to do is consume the stuff. Like, that's all they can think about, all they eat, all they like, it's all they had in their fridge. If you open up their fridge, they didn't have anything else in there except for this stuff.
No. And it's something that Jason says. I think this was maybe our second or third encounter with his family. And his mom is trying to get him to try, really all of his family is trying to get him to try the stuff. But his mom in particular, the way that she's talking about it, he's like, why are you talking like you're on a commercial? And it is just this sort of like word of mouth type of marketing that the stuff sort of thrives on, because you get one person to tell you about it, to get you to try it, and now you have another person who's just immediately hooked onto it. Like, there's no world in which someone tries the stuff and says, that's not for me, because no, it's not designed that way.
No, and it's actually like a really good allegory for like addictive products and addiction in general, I would say. Like, this silly movie is so dark.
I found it interesting. I thought that it was it was very similar to The Blob. For obvious reasons, you have the stuff as a blob, and you have the way that it is like slowly but surely, honestly not even slowly though, it's very rapidly taking over these communities. But with the Blob and the Red Scare, that was so much of a external concern. Like, we're scared that this power above us is coming in and infiltrating. But I feel like the stuff flips that around, and now the threat that we need to be fearful of is ourselves, essentially. And it's what these people in power do when they are stripping our autonomy and when they are trying to keep us suppressed.
Yeah. The next note in here is that, like, we get to then meet our industrial espionage expert, David Mo Rutherford. And he is ridiculous. His whole line of, like, the names Mo Rutherford, they call me that because when people give me money, I always want Mo. That's so dumb.
It's so dumb, and yet the accent that he says it in, it's so smooth. I cannot hate him for it. I can't.
I know. It's
too good.
It is the most ridiculous thing, but like he does say it in this very, like, I can't do it. I can't be that suave with like such a stupid line. Like, I would never.
There's like a Louisiana drawl to what he says. I don't know where he's from. All I know is that he shows up in brown cowboy boots and a gray pantsuit, and he's there to strike a deal. And you know what? He does. He's successful at it.
He's so charming. He charms the pants off of all of them.
Yes.
And that line, it just like makes everyone, they let their guard down. At first they're like, who the fuck is this? And then he says that and they're like, okay, like maybe he's cool or something.
Mm-hmm. I do think that's one aspect to his character that adds so much to the dynamics on screen, is he does have a very disarming persona. And it is like, I think that especially in this first like introductory scene for him, you kind of do see this disarming amongst everyone in that room, kind of just thinking like, oh, this is just some like goofy hillbilly, like, whatever their thoughts are. But then he's always going to have the upper hand, and you don't know it yet.
Yeah. No, he's playing you. He's definitely playing them. But yeah, so he gets hired to find any sensitive business information on this stuff. They want the trade secret. They want the formula. They talk about how there's no ingredients list. They don't know what's in it, and they want to find out because, it's selling like crazy and it's taking over the industry. It's basically creating a monopoly on the industry, and other companies are going under. So he's hired to find out what exactly all of this is. They're not mad for the right reasons, though. They're mad that they don't know how to duplicate it. They're not mad that, like, maybe this is harming people. What is it doing? Is it brainwashing them? They don't care about that.
No. All they want is the Krabby Patty formula. And
that's a really good way of saying it. The Krabby Patty formula. I love that.
The stuff and the Krabby Patty formula have a lot of things in common. Just one is an alien parasite, and the other is just a silly little good burger. But the idea of there's always that double interest, or like that double investment, where you're not in it for the reasons that you're making it out to be, but then you really will. Like, I mean, we see this sometimes with like politicians, where you will exacerbate the concerns that the general public may have just so that you can get your way in the end, when you do not actually empathize with the general public and you don't actually care about their well-being of the matter either.
Yeah. We have a lot of those.
So many.
They really piss me off. So once all that is settled, we get to the nationwide advertising blitz, and there's like the TV commercials, billboards. They've got like the dancers like eating the stuff as Like they're very glamorous. They've got like the 80s rocker hair. They're in like spandex and it's just like all
So 80s.
so 80s. So 80s. And so David talks, he's like smooth talking Nicole, who was the designer, This Stuff's advertising campaign. And he's like, well, I'm going to buy the company. And he basically like, he lies to her.
Just fully lies.
Yeah. But he's such like a, again, convincing, disarming person. He uses that same line again on her. And yeah, he wants to know the secrets and she's his in.
Yeah, and she believes him very quickly. I'm concerned for her own well-being because it was a little too easy for you to be convinced.
Yeah, it's basically like a take me to your leader type thing with her. And it's just like kind of portraying women as this handsome guy. He is showing me attention. He says he has money. He's rich. I'm going to go with him.
There's a lot of things that don't make sense either ethically or time-wise, but I choose to suspend my disbelief because otherwise I would spend the entire movie just confused.
Yeah, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on right now? Especially because Jason meets Mo randomly. He's running away from his psychotic family who is trying to get him to eat the stuff. He goes to the bathroom, dumps it down the toilet, and that's actually a really good scene, like how this stuff starts like moving in the toilet. I really like that.
Yeah, I do. I'm very interested in the effects of this movie, like for a later scene too that we'll probably talk about. I think that the way that it moves is just so fascinating, especially for an 80s film. It's fun to see it on screen.
Okay, so some of the substance props or stand-ins for the real stuff used in the movie included lots of Haagen-Dazs ice cream, yogurt, and for one scene, it involved an enormous avalanche-like effect of stuff crashing through a wall. It was a fire extinguishing foam.
Oh.
Other shots, such as the ones of the giant lake of stuff, required superimposed images and animation.
Interesting. Wow. See, even in the world of digital effects, it's so much better without CGI.
It is. It really is. But so Jason meets Mo, and he automatically takes this kid and puts it in his car. And he's just like, I guess he recognizes the look of terror, and he's like, oh, that's not an alien goo eating person. So he helps him. And then because Jason had eaten shaving cream, he throws up in the back of the guy's car. And then David makes another like really cheesy joke to disarm this child and make him feel comfortable into getting onto a plane.
And I don't really think Jason needed much convincing because I think at this point any place was safer than his home with his family.
Yeah, that poor kid. Thankfully, Trump wasn't on that plane. It wasn't going to Epstein Island because that kid could have been in some serious trouble.
Oh, absolutely. Mo may be a capitalist, but he's not in the Epstein files.
I believe that. I don't think he would be on that. I think he's got more morals than that. But he would maybe help investigate them.
You know what? Yeah, I think so. I think that he needs to recognize that, okay, yes, your name is Mo because you like Mo money, but your name is also Mo because you put the Mo in morals. Like, you have some pretty strong morals there.
I like that. Mo and morals. I like that. That's a good one. I mean, basically, this whole part is about like family, community, and marketing combined to make avoiding consumption socially unacceptable. There's family pressure, community pressure. It's everywhere on billboards, on TV. It's like, what do you mean you don't want the candy? Like, everyone says it's good. Everyone's
Yeah.
saying it's good for
And
you.
something that I really loved to see was the way that the same colors of the Stuff's brand were used in the production design. And it just kind of like further emphasized this tidal wave of marketing for the Stuff and how it is just kind of consuming this, like, not just community but society in, you know, like everything you see but also everything you eat and everything you talk about. But then when you see like the Stuff's executive's office and the set dressing for that and how it's a lot of blues and greens and red, or not blue, a brown and green and red, and you have the American flag in there, it's just a completely different vibe that you later come to understand once we get the scene in the end.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because those are all kind of like subliminal messages that we get. But you know, the color, the marketing, everything that you use, it's meaningful. It elicits a certain feeling. And when you're surrounded by a certain product and images that constantly remind you of that, then it just normalizes it even further for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have like a whole little part about how addiction, everyone's addicted to this stuff. They all start being attacked. Like it makes them so much so that they will attack other people for the stuff. Does that remind you of anything?
I'm thinking, well, first thought's Black Friday, but we don't have Black Fridays like that anymore, unfortunately. but at a time, Black Friday did look a whole lot like that, and that would have been a perfect allegory for the Stuff.
Yeah, that and also like ketamine and stuff like that is more like what I'm thinking, just because it's like food based. But like the family eating this stuff, it's engineered for addiction, for being dependent on it. Also, kind of I mean, it's like nicotine or sugar, like the crazy amounts of sugar we put in our food.
Yeah.
And caffeine as well, although I will never not have caffeine. That's not going to happen.
No. But at least I will not be drinking the Panera charged lemonades. That's one caffeine product that I will not be consuming. But even that, I feel like that's a really good talking point for the Stuff and addictive substances and the FDA, because how many people had to die or had to go to the hospital from drinking Panera's lemonade because it was not FDA regulated and it was hyper dangerous for your heart. But I also too, the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry, like as it pertains to hospitals, like that is one just sort of like insular cycle of enabling addiction and making money off of addiction, and like your whole business model is upheld by the idea that people are going to stay addicted. And I mean, you have commercials for pharmaceuticals in America that no one else has in other countries.
It should be illegal. Honestly, it should be illegal.
During COVID and like a little bit after, where people were trying to take their health and their wellness into their own hands, they began to take advice from TikTok and people on TikTok, and than like, supplements on the TikTok shop and all
Good
of these things
point.
that we're not
Yes.
we're not asking questions on where these things are coming from, or we're not keeping in mind that like, hey, my body is different from this other person. No, we're just trying to find the next solution to fix our either insecurities or anxieties or concerns.
Yes, that's such a good point. Like, we literally listen to someone who's making a video on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. And like they don't have an expertise. They don't have
Mhm.
like they're just someone pushing a product. And they don't
Yeah.
even really know what it is. Like a lot of these supplements that were supposed to be good for you, they went and tested them because they weren't FDA approved. And like a lot of this stuff that like supplements that you'll buy off Amazon too, there was a study that came out that was like some of them were just like your average cooking spices were in these capsules
Oh my
and being
god.
sold to you as like, I mean, it's not going to harm you, but it's not helping
Right.
you. It's not doing what you think
No.
it's doing.
It also reminds me of like I don't know if this happens anymore. It probably does, just in a different format, but like 2015 through 2018, the pattern of influencers turning to like slim tea or whatever the fitness drink was that helped them lose weight really fast. And then
Yes.
everyone was thinking that that's their solution to weight loss. And some people experience like not irreversible damage, but just like it definitely changes the way that their body just naturally, like breaks down food or naturally digests food or anything like that. I feel like watching other people's mistakes have inspired me to not make the same mistakes.
Yeah. And part of these fast fads that keep happening, and it's like a cycle. Like one comes, we have the fad, it comes, people
Yeah.
realize it's harming others, and it doesn't have the benefits that it was promised. And so then that is, that goes away. It's recognized for what it is. And then another fast fad comes, and it's another thing that isn't tested. It's another thing that we don't know long term what it's going to do to us. And then when we finally start, like enough people use it, and over a long enough period of time, we get to know what it does to people. We're basically using ourselves as guinea pigs in these
Hmm.
scenarios. So basically, this is like the theme of loss of autonomy through consumption. This stuff becomes a metaphor for how consumer products shape identity, habits, and even our belief systems. Is it a cult or aliens? Are we worshiping this thing? Everyone's kind of talking about a new movie that's coming out right now. I think it's called Kombucha. Is that
Oh,
what
I've
it's
seen
called?
it. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. Like, it kind of seems like the themes are very similar.
Yeah. I watched it. I screened it for Brooklyn Horror Film Festival, and it was a fun movie to see. And this is before I even saw the stuff, but
Yeah.
like having seen the stuff now, I can definitely see the similarities, even in just like I think that one has a darker tone and it approaches the subject matter in such a more serious way and in the way of like workplace environment and like sort of the cult of coming into a startup and coming into like that sort of vibe.
Okay,
But
so
I think
yeah, definitely.
yeah, but I also think too the personification of this of like the substance at hand, they both also do a really good job at that.
Okay, I'm interested in that one. I think it looks like a really good movie. And anything like that, especially like it looks like a pyramid scheme kind of in it as well. This one doesn't have a pyramid scheme. It's just like big corp taking over. And
Mhm.
they have monopolized the entire industry.
Yeah, and two. I would say, like, with kombucha, the main character being a black man and entering the space where it is majority white or non-black, the kombucha of it all and the cult of it all just hits a little bit differently in that context. So looking at a character like Chocolate Chip Charlie and understanding this sort of like small business versus corporation and the corporation trying to steal from a smaller business, I think that those contexts are important to their own respective stories.
Yeah, 100%. So, moving along with the movie, we get the attack of the stuff. We have the truck scene. They get into the plane, they go over to the main facility. And Jason somehow, I can't even remember how the hell he gets in that truck, but he gets stuck in the truck and they're like pumping it for the stuff, full of stuff for distribution. And there's also a scene where David and Nicole are in a hotel room and the stuff starts like attacking them through the mattress, which that was just an
Oh my gosh.
insane scene.
So crazy. That, and then you like bouncing back and forth between this and Jason in the truck. And Jason in the truck, it's so obvious that it's a green screen and that they just edited him into this tanker truck. And if there's one thing about it, this movie, I don't know who edited it. Peace be with them. I hope that they watch this movie with a great fondness, because there were moments where it felt like this movie was shot at at just completely different times and locations and people. Like, the cutting between scenes, I was just, wow. It was eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, definitely very discombobulating. I would say going between the two, it was almost like I was getting whiplash between the two.
Yeah, really.
And like it was so absurd. The absurdity of it all. I loved the way that the stuff moved though from the mattress and how it like tried to suffocate them.
Yeah.
Like this like sentient thing. They burn it and that's how they realize they can get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So David saves the girl. They realize the kid's in the truck. They get him out, but now the stuff is like super pissed because they realize that they know what it is, and they have to use like reverse psychology with the cop to like tempt him with the promise of this stuff so that they can get away, which was a funny scene. It just reminded me of like the lengths people will go to for controlled substances. It just reminded me of addiction.
That, and two, there's a real helplessness to it when you realize that everyone is in bed with one another. Essentially, you can't go to law enforcement because law enforcement is in cahoots with the big bad, and even if they're not in this, like maybe even if they're not in cahoots per se, they're still submitting to the power above everyone. Essentially no one can help you besides yourself.
Yeah, that's a really good point because they know that they can't trust the cop. Everyone's been tampered with. And I mean, that's kind of like, I'm probably going to get on a list by saying this, but I'm probably already on that list. But that's kind of what's happening right now. It's kind of exactly what's happening right now, especially with ICE and the president. And it's insane. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how some things never change.
Yeah. Greed and power always looks the same. And some people just like to fall in line with it. And then some people look at it and they notice it and they say, that's bad.
Right. That's bad. Okay, now I'm going to eat the stuff again.
Yeah. Or they burn it. I would definitely, I would not be eating that shit. I'd be burning it.
No, I because also, like, throwing it down the toilet doesn't even seem to work. Like, the only option is to burn it, or maybe acid. I would like to see what it would look like pouring acid on it. See,
Yeah,
maybe
I
it
would definitely,
dissolves.
I would have so much fun getting creative with like ways to kill this thing. So then we get Chocolate Chip Charlie, who is Charlie Hobbs, and he was in direct competition with this stuff, and his business ended up going under because he was a small business and there was just no competing against this thing. Honestly, I put like the black man getting sidelined by large corporations that are run by all white men is just way too real.
Way too real. A never-ending tragedy. Even in the world of DEI, it still is a problem.
Yeah, it really pisses me off. And I was really rooting for Chocolate Chip Charlie. What a racist name, first of all.
I know.
But
Yeah.
he
Sorry.
was so funny. And he even pointed to racism. Like, he was like, there was something that David Guy said to him, and he's like, I can't do that. Like, look at me, or something.
His physical comedy was so fun to watch.
Yeah. And then his death was the worst.
Oh my gosh, such a crime.
And we kind of talked about this before. He's taking Nicole into a room, and, you know, it makes it look like the black man is going to be a predator. And then he has the most brutal death. And I mean, it's not very subliminal messaging. Like, whenever the black character is murdered in such a brutal way, it's more palatable for the audience than if David or Nicole or Jason were murdered. It was a really brutal scene. It was great effects. Like, I actually really enjoyed the way that it looked. I just wish it would have been someone else.
I know. Yeah. I wish it would have been someone else, because also too, it only contributes to this long-standing trope that a black character only stays alive long enough to help the white protagonist, and then they die. And Charlie did not survive to prove that theory wrong.
No, it very much not. I'm sorry, Charlie. You deserve better.
Yes. I'll eat a chocolate chip cookie in your name.
Yeah. So then we get to kind of like, we're kind of at the movie at this point. They start burning the shit all over the place, and they realize that's how you destroy it. They decide that they need to broadcast a message as a warning about this stuff because the FDA and government aren't going to do anything about it. This is a direct jab at how agencies meant to protect consumers often fail or are manipulated by corporate interests, which is also another thing that we still see. And it's the reason why so many people are going to social media for their news and the information that they get instead of actual news channels, because those actual news channels are pandering to the corporations.
Yeah, and just the flow of money. I did not stay a journalism major for long, but what I did learn in my time was that while it may be illegal for news and media to accept money for corporations and their bribes, it still happens.
Oh yeah, all the time. And it happens in very inconspicuous ways, seen as, a donor.
A donor, a benefactor, all of the fancy terms for financer.
Fancy terms for bribery. When in the streets we just call it bribery, but they have to be fancy about it. Yeah, but it's the same shit. It's the same shit.
Same. Yeah.
So they broadcast the warning about the stuff, and this leads to an uproar. People start burning it, vandalizing places that sell it, because honestly, that's the only way anything ever changes.
As if you burn it all down to the ground.
And the movie illustrates it, which is so funny.
Like, I'm sorry, the next time that someone tries to tell me that violent protesting doesn't work, and that there's no way that anyone's going to be listened to for looting and setting things on fire, I'm just going to show them the stuff. I'm going to say, I know it's silly, but just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. It gets good.
It does. Like, this stupid movie is actually so deep.
It is. Yeah, it's always that deep, guys.
It is. Everyone, like, horror isn't political. Yeah, it fucking is. Yes, it is.
And it always will be. I do not care. You can sit here and say that you did not make a political horror movie, but I'm still going to project. If there's one thing I can do, it's projection. And I'm going to do it to your non-political horror movie.
Even if the thing is, like, everything is political. Life is political because our lives are run by, the laws and things that are put upon us. So by society. So when society is run by politics, everything is inherently political. And the, values and beliefs that you have, which are all interconnected. It just is.
Yeah. I also, too, I think that so many people claim that, things are not political. Not everything is political, but then those same people politicize something like queerness, like transness, like race, and then wonder why everything has to be political. And whether they realize it or not, by politicizing people's actual lives, now you are forcing us into this box of having to sort of move around the world as if everything is political because that's what you've done. Like we didn't choose this life.
No, 100%. And the people that don't understand that are the people that are already benefiting off of the system and don't have to worry about laws or reforms or any of this affecting them.
Yeah.
So,
well, until they're not worried about it until it does indeed come to bite them in the ass. And I think a lot of people are experiencing that this presidency.
They deserve it. We don't deserve it, but they fucking deserve it. Basically, the unscrupulous owners of this stuff want to remarket it by calling it the taste at the end. And they cut it, right? It's not just the stuff anymore. Now it's a blend of yogurt and ice cream with just enough of this stuff in it to turn consumers into addicts. This shows how capitalism rebrands instead of taking accountability. Even after the public is harmed, corporations pivot the product rather than destroy it, right? They've already invested in this thing. They're not going to it's not birth control. We're not just going to set it on fire. There's some value to this, right? You know what I'm referring to, right?
I don't know. What are you referring to?
Trump was going to just set a bunch of birth control on fire. I think he did.
No.
There was a warehouse. Yeah, there was a warehouse full of birth control, and he had it set on fire. I will check that and make sure I'm right, but he did.
No, I mean, you probably are. Was this more recent or was this not recent? Okay. See, I feel like because I'm not on Twitter, weirdly enough, because I'm not on Twitter, I don't see these things, but then Twitter was making me lose my faith in humanity. So I had to get rid of it a little bit because it's unsafe. Once I start losing faith in humanity, things are not okay.
Oh, wait. Was he barred from burning it? He wanted to burn it.
Oh.
Barred from burning 9.7 million in birth control. The Trump administration may now be running down the clock. No, but I think he still destroyed it. He wanted to burn it.
Yeah. He'll still find a way. He has the will.
Oh my fucking God, he will. Yeah, but if it doesn't benefit them, they're like, they have to make something with it. They have to make something of it.
You're right.
So they're just rebranding it to the taste.
Yeah. And it's very similar to when like influencers or a brand get caught doing something like they made a racially insensitive joke or they said a slur or something, and their actions immediately after being called out for it. Sometimes it has this feeling of you're only doing this so that you don't lose business, not because you're actually sorry. And I think that for the stuff, it's the very same situation where you're rebranding this and you're not putting as much of the stuff in it because, people don't like that, but you still want them to keep coming back. You don't want to lose that money. You don't want to lose that business. So you're not really sorry. You're just trying to cater to the audience just enough to make them feel heard and seen.
Yeah. In this example, at the end, it's like the addiction remains profitable. So like they can't get rid of this stuff completely. It parallels how harmful substances like opioids, alcohol, and nicotine continue, even though these are harmful and addictive, they continue to thrive despite regulation. And trust me, I'm not trying to get rid of any of those things. But
anytime soon.
no, please do not get rid of my alcohol. Do not get rid of, I can do without nicotine. I'm good without that. I stopped smoking a long time ago. And you know what? I don't do opioids, but if I get sick or if I break a bone, I want pain medication.
Right. You just don't want to be overprescribed it. But hey, that is the system in which we live in.
Yes, this is true. So basically, we're at the end. Oh, there was one other last part of the scene when David calls Jason and he enters the room and Jason takes glasses and glasses of stuff and they force the company owners to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yes, they got their lick back.
Yeah. That's what we have to do. We have to make them eat their own shit.
I agree. It's like that scene in The Help. Well, technically, she does. It's her own shit in
it's
her pie.
Shit, the shit pie. Oh, I love that so
pie.
much.
But I feel like we all need to be a little bit more revolutionary and also just, withholding our autonomy as consumers. Like, you have a right to know where your money is going, but also with that right, you have a responsibility. And so, I mean, it's very similar to, the conversations I've been having about like Stranger Things, for example, and how it's not just one actor who is, the reason why people are boycotting. It's the showrunners, but while it's also the showrunners, it's Netflix as a whole. Like, it's all just one big snowball, and like, it's not enough to just acknowledge that the places you're giving your money to are harmful to art and to its industry and to communities. You have a responsibility as someone with money.
Yeah. We show people what we value with our dollar.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. And it's like, if you want to be, the problem with consumerism right now is that we have a fucking lazy dollar.
Yeah.
People don't want to put in the effort into real products.
Or like, even when it comes to convenience too. I mean, Amazon, the real evil. It is so much easier to just go on Amazon and look up the product that you could spend 2 hours walking around looking for.
Yeah.
and just find it on Amazon in 5 minutes to order. And it's not obviously the ideal in a perfect world. No one uses Amazon because power of the dollar. But
Yeah.
that is just the way that capitalism manufactures our lives, is that you
Yeah.
do become reliant on these things that you don't want to be because, well, there's no other feasible option.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I meant by like the lazy dollar. Amazon
Yeah.
is definitely the lazy consumer. And we are a bunch of fucking lazy ass consumers right now.
Yeah.
So I have a game for you. It's the last thing we'll
Okay.
do. My game is called Are You Eating It or Is It Eating You? Meaning that consumerism devours the consumer, which is basically this entire movie. So I'm going to give you 3 different real food products. And yes, every single one of these actually existed. Your job is to tell me who is really the consumer in this situation. Is it you eating the product, or was the product basically eating you from the inside out?
And is this based off of my own personal opinion, having fun with it, or seriously, what do I think the truth is?
It's seriously, what do you think the truth is? These are very misleading products, and some of them were actually harmed people. Some of them didn't actually harm people, but like it might seem like they would be toxic.
Okay.
Lead candy glazes from the 1800s. Is it eating? So these beautiful bright candies were glazed with a special ingredient that made the colors pop and shine irresistible. That irresistible shine was lead. Was it eating you, or are you eating it?
Oh, well, I believe it was eating you.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes. Lead was definitely killing the consumer. That shine came with lead oxide. Kids got seizures and nerve damage. Parents thought it was seasonal illness, not believing your kids. The candy was basically eating their nervous systems.
Oh my goodness.
That's real.
This is why science matters. Science is important.
Okay. Early Mountain Dew. The original recipe for this soda wasn't neon green, but it did contain a surprise ingredient. What do you think? It contained a surprise ingredient linked to heart issues and muscle tremors. Is it eating you, or are you eating it?
Oh, well, I think it's eating you. As a former Mountain Dew child, I can say it's not safe.
It's not, but it's way safer than it used to be. So there used to be brominated vegetable oil, BVO, which can build up in your fat and literally mess with your brain. It caused memory issues and hallucinations in people.
Oh my goodness. So just like the Panera lemonades. Wow.
Yeah. Yes. It's still not good for you. I don't, recommend drinking Mountain Dew a whole bunch, but at least it's not literally eating you like this one was.
Right. And, a Mountain Dew Baja Blast every once in a while is not awful. You have to indulge every now and then.
Especially when you go to Taco Bell. But now they sell it in cans.
Exactly. I do not go to Taco Bell very often, but I will get a Baja Blast just as a drink if I really feel crazy.
I don't blame you. But thankfully, it doesn't kill you anymore.
Yeah, thank God.
So the last one is pink slime. It was in the 2000s. This meat filler was used in school lunches and burgers nationwide in the 2000s, mind you. And companies said it was safe, and the internet said it was a biohazard. What do you think?
Probably wasn't safe, but also, if we look at all of the fun, colorful foods that came out in the late 90s and early 2000s, like the purple ketchup and the slime, Nickelodeon slime, whatever. Like all of those things were so crazy and like not necessarily bad. They were just definitely peak consumerism, if I may say. But for this sake, I'm going to say it's eating you.
Oh, you think it's eating you? Not you are eating it?
I don't, well, if the internet says it's biohazard, then the internet must be right. But I guess going off of my original point, I'll say perhaps I'm eating it.
You are eating it.
Yeah.
Good job. You are eating it. They said it was a biohazard, but just because the internet said that doesn't mean it's true. It was gross, yes, but not toxic. It's basically lean beef treated with ammonia gas. It didn't eat you. You just maybe lost your appetite and didn't want to have school lunch. Maybe your parents packed your lunch from now on.
Yeah, and that is how school lunches got their reputation. Michelle Obama had to come in.
Oh my God, I was about to mention Michelle Obama and her initiative for like her like healthy plate stuff. It was so good. She had a really good initiative.
She did, but perhaps better food suppliers next time.
Yeah, for sure.
Because those lunches were definitely not appetizing. But hey.
But at least they weren't pink slime.
Yeah, no pink slime and no purple ketchup were found at the scene.
No. Well, I think that is basically it. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I had so much fun talking to you.
It was a fun conversation, and I'm glad that I could experience this stuff in such a fun way.
New Silent Night, Deadly Night remake is in theaters. You should go see it. Please go support it in the theaters, especially with what's going on with Warner Brothers and Netflix. And, we are concerned as cinephiles about what's going to happen to cinema, what's going to happen to the movie industry and in movie theaters, because there is no replacing the movie theater experience. No one has a good enough living room. No one that I know. Go support indie horror. Go have a great experience on the big screen, in the reclining chairs. It's so nice now. Like, you get to pick your own seat. The things recline. There's so much leg room for the most part, depending on what theater you go to. Also this week, we have Dust Bunny has a limited theatrical release. This is a fairy tale gateway horror film. It follows a 10-year-old girl who seeks help from her mysterious neighbor to kill the monster she believes ate her family. It looks so good. Like, this is fantasy horror, and we do not get enough of this. Aside from just the visuals, the way you can be, sometimes we focus too much on making things realistic when really we should be going the total opposite direction. We should be making this so out of this world bonkers that you have this otherworldly experience. Film can take you to so many different places, and this is, I think, one of those movies that does that. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the trailer, and it was one of my very, very highly anticipated movies of the year, so I am definitely going to be seeing this. I've just been crazy busy. We also have Influencers is streaming on Shudder. It's a thriller about a young woman in southern France whose obsession with murder and identity theft leads to a chaotic whirlwind of events. Keeper is now on VOD. A romantic anniversary trip to a secluded cabin goes wrong when a dark presence forces a couple to confront the property's haunted past. We also have Kombucha is an indie horror movie that's now available on VOD. You can get it on Prime for rent. In this movie, a mind-altering drink makes employees work themselves to death. So this one actually looks really interesting as well. And we are ending this year strong for horror. So go check out those movies. Most of them are indie horror, and support indie horror, please. We need to be supporting indie horror now more than ever. And fuck AI. I am slowly transitioning into indie horror highlights, where I will have 2 indie horror highlight episodes a month, and then 2 episodes based on my theme of the month with a guest. So if you have a friend who has an indie horror movie that you would like them to be featured on the pod, or you are a director, writer, producer, actor, cinematographer, whatever it may be, maybe you're all of those things, and you would like your indie horror movie to be featured on my podcast, all you have to do is email me at screamqueenpodcaster@gmail.com. I am currently looking for guests to be in my month for February, and I would love to talk to you guys about your films. This is a weekly podcast with new episodes out every Friday. All the research, writing, and audio is done by yours truly. This is a one-woman show, and I am doing my very best. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. It really means a lot. You can find me on Instagram at Scream Queen Podcaster, Blue Sky at Scream Queen Podcast, TikTok at Scream Queen Podcast, and there's a link tree that will take you to my YouTube and Facebook page as well. Be a critical consumer. Look at the ingredients. Question, make sure that you are not a guinea pig for a product, and don't just blindly trust a company because they say something's good for you. If this episode has taught you anything, it's that your health and interest is not their best interest. Sometimes those things can go together. It should go together. But really, when it comes to consumerism, it's all about profit. Profit over people. Until next time, goodbye.